So everybody's heard of those eBay horrors, you know, when you buy something off eBay and they say power's up but unable to test. Well, you know that it's broken, right? But what you don't know is, has somebody else tried to fix it and just messed it up big time, and then they're passing it off on the next guy? Well, this is exactly what happened on this one, and I'm going to show you the problem, but we're not fixing this one, unfortunately. It's just too far gone. This is the first of two Sony DAT machines that I received in for service. This one's a TCD-10. I also received the TCD-10 Pro, which is the same machine, but it has XLR inputs on the side instead of quarter-inch mono or quarter-inch microphone plugs. Now the other one's already fixed and it's been sent back. It's working perfect. You've already seen the video. This one here had damage internal though, which we'll find out once I get into it. We'll start out with this one. Uses an ACP88, same as the old camcorders used to use. Oops, open. I gotta find something on here that I can play. This one here should be okay. I think this one should be acceptable to play. Let's see whether it will play first of all. And oh, we may have a belt slipping on this one. It did not appear to fully load the tape. And we'll take a look at the bottom of it here. Units of this size are somewhat easier to work on than the Walkman sized units. They're still fairly involved, but at least they're not as packed as the Walkmans were. Looks like somebody's been into this one here because I see several of the screws that are burred over, like someone's used the wrong size of screwdriver on them. So these machines somebody's been into. Lift off now, and the back should kick out of here. I'm not going to spend much time on disassembling this thing because I just want to get down to where I found the problem so you guys can see what the fault was when someone tried to open this thing up the first time, and then they realized they were in over their head and they just stuck it back together and sold it. But it does sound like the loading belt is slipping, so we're going to address that problem first, but that's not the only fault with this thing. It's got another problem, which we'll see in a few minutes. Upon closer inspection on this one, it is loading. The loading belt is right back here. You can see it, but it is completing the loading cycle. What's happening is the reel, it looks like the reels aren't turning. Actually, it's the brake. The brake is not being released from the reel tables and causing the reel table to stop turning. One thing I've also noted is when I turn it over, something's loose. Anyway, let's get the knobs off the front. I believe this volume control's got a, I pull this rubber off. Now there's a screw in there that holds it in place. A little set screw. don't know if I hold out a lot of hope for this one, but at least now I can take the board out to see what's going on. As you can see, these screws here, someone's used the wrong screwdriver on them, and they're stripped, and they're not tight. So somebody has been into this unit, and whenever I see a machine that someone else has been into, it typically means somebody else gave up on it, and I might also give up on it. It just depends on how bad it is, but we'll see. Is this thing as bad as the Walkmans? It's looking that way. I can't lift the board out because there are ribbon cables down here. Looks like I have to take off this connector and unplug the, I guess this is the, could be the drum motor. I have to unplug that and try and lift the board up from the other side. Yeah, direct drive motors for the reel table. I wonder if they're sticking. We'll grease these gears while I'm at it. For the threading mechanism, that motor turns freely, as does this one. But these reel drive motors appear to be stuck. That's likely what the problem with this thing is. Okay, I guess I gotta take out this front board. Now I can maybe unplug these other ones, or at least swing this down enough to get at the reel motors. I just want to try and remove that reel motor assembly if I can. But as you can see, the way that this thing is built, it's it's tough. There's not a lot of clearance in here to do anything. I've got a DC to DC converter that's sticking up here, and some very short cables that I don't want them to get damaged. They are glued down to this front board here. It's cables that go between this board and this one, but they are glued down to the chassis. There's not a lot of slack on them. I like to unplug them. Every bit as tough to work on as the Walkmans, unfortunately. But I'm curious as to whether I can get the screws out that hold the hold the motor block in, and then just remove the motor block. Looks like somebody's put some Scotch tape in here to tape these down. So let's just remove this. So we can take this motor out. I want to check out the motor block here. Oh, there's the problem right there. This is severed, this ribbon, and that is an unobtainable part. See that? That was covered up by that tape. I don't know where it goes. There's another piece of it somewhere in here, but it's not off this one, but that obviously went somewhere. And that is damaged. You can see someone's been in here because these connectors aren't even, like, they're not even straight. So I'm going to put this one back together. Now this one was rattling too. I wonder what that rattling was. Sure sounded like there was something loose in this when I was turning it around before. I just kind of shake it and see if anything will fall out of it. Now the bottom's off. Oh. So it also has a guide that has fallen out. That would explain why this one's not working. Well, this one here with that broken ribbon cable, that would explain also why things weren't working properly. I'm going to just close this one up. I'm not even going to continue on this one because there's nothing really I can do. We'll put this back the way I found it and send it back. Okay, this one's all back together. This one is a condemned one in this video. May not even ever see the light of day. But I do have it documented as to what is wrong with it and why I won't fix it, and it's because somebody's been into it. And when someone gets into things, you never know what damage they can cause to it. So I'm going to wash my hands on this one.